Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Thanks for all liking, sharing, and generally promoting this little site here. I'm going to talk today about a guy who's well known to you all. His name's Michael Gordon Peterson. He's aged 70 years of age. He's currently in prison. He's also known as Charles Salvador, formerly known as Charles Bronson. And he's been in prison, really, most of the time, except for a few days, on and off since 1974. Imagine that. I mean, in 1974 he was sentenced for armed robbery, which we've all got to agree is a very serious offence. And he was he served about 10 years for that. And the problem that I can see from what's been happening to Michael Gordon Peterson is that he hasn't actually accepted, that what he's done is completely wrong, and has gone down a path of offending against the authorities. Because apparently he doesn't actually care too much for prison officers. So he's attacked a number of them. He's taken a deputy governor hostage. He once hijacked two Iraqi terrorists, hijacked them into his cell and captured them, kept them captive. And to set them free, he wanted some fish and chips and ice cream, I believe. On a helicopter, he wanted to fly to Cuba. Of course, these things are nonsense. I believe that the problem that pertains with this very colourful character is that he's seeking attention. And it may be a sense of he's been wronged by the system, so he's determined to get his revenge. But as somebody once said, if you take the journey of revenge before you set out, dig two graves. The problem that Charles Salvador has found is that his grave was a living grave made out of concrete and iron bars, and that's where he's remained. He's also displayed a predilection for physically assaulting sex offenders in prison. So it would have been interesting to see him introduced to Gary Glitter. You can imagine it, can't you? Charles, I'd like to introduce you to the leader of the gang. This is Gary Glitter. What do you think? Yay! That's the end of that. That would have solved it, wouldn't it? Anyway, he's coming up for parole, folks. I believe it's the 6th of March and the 8th of March, so it's not far away. And it's going to be held in public. Now, I'm sure that we would all like to see Charles being released and allowed to have an attempt at living. It won't be a normal life, will it? Because he's going to be a celebrity. He'll be on all the chat shows, and the problem is that there'll be people trying to provoke him, so it's not going to be easy. I sincerely wish him the best. I like his art. I've seen it. He does paintings, people with bolts through their head and iron bars and all that. It's really it's kind of a comment on society. That we are all living in a prison. And if you don't believe that we're all living in a prison, have a look at the plans for Oxford, the city of Oxford, where they're going to break it up into areas, so like Area A, Area B, all part of the same major conurbation of Oxford, but you're not allowed out of Area A to Area B to Area C, D, E, F, or whatever, unless you have a permit. And if you don't have a permit, then you're not allowed out. This dates back to the medieval times, in the Middle Ages, when you were effectively imprisoned by your baron and you were required to remain within the tithing of your area. So you were not allowed to move from tithing to tithing. Shakespeare writes about this. I think it's in King Lear when he mentions Bedlam beggars whipped from tithing to tithing. Because if the beggars used to turn up in your tithing begging from the people who lived there, they were whipped out of the city, whipped out of the tithing, because it's an area. And the tithing is where you paid your taxes to, a tenth of your income or whatever it was. I mean, nowadays we've got to pay much more than that, haven't we? I mean, top rate of income tax is what? 45%, yeah, of your earnings taken by the taxman and redistributed, yeah, through the crony network, yeah, to all their best buddies, yeah. I think we need £500 million worth of equipment, you know, whatever it is. Who's going to get that? Oh, I know. One of Matt's mates. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, he can have that one. Yeah. Seriously, the whole thing is going mad. Anyway, Charles Bronson is coming up for parole. It'll be held in public. He wants it to be held in public. And he's apparently had some fundraising to get a caravan. He wants to live in a caravan on a caravan park in Devon. That's very nice, isn't it? If that's what you really want. Yeah, and I sincerely hope that he allows himself to live a placid, peaceful life. But there's always a temptation. You see, the thing is, if you've got a tiger in the tank, you know, and somebody provokes that tiger, it's going to emerge. That is the problem that Charles has got. He has got not one tiger in the tank, but quite a few. And every time he's been released since 1974, which I believe is twice. One time he was out for 69 days, committed another armed robbery, back in prison. Back in prison, assaulting staff, assaulting governors, assaulting teachers, assaulting other inmates regularly, yeah. More time added. In the year 2000 he got a life sentence for his offences. You've got to say this is a seriously mixed up kind of approach to doing your time. The ones that I've seen who've really succeeded on doing the time, you know, people like Mark Leach, people like John McVicker, you know, they've got Jimmy Boyle as well. Yeah, they've been in there, done the time, got themselves some kind of skill, usually arts or writing, and Mark Leach got himself a master's degree in law while he was in. Yeah, they paid for it. Yeah, and when he came out, he set up the prison's handbook and wrote that all about the prisons. Yeah. Actually, nowadays, I mean, it's you can go online and just type any prison in, and Wikipedia or whatever it is, or the government sites will give you details about the prisons and how to visit them, and the visiting hours, the name of the governor, and all the rest of it. Yeah. So anyway, that's it. Charles Bronson, Charles Salvador, up for parole on the 6th of March and the 8th of March. So I think it must be a 2-day hearing. Yeah. And he will be hopefully released and find himself a nice little home in Devon in a caravan. But he's going to be, the press will be all over him. It's very likely that he's going to be a target for some half-baked idiot who wants to say, I punched Charles Salvador. Well, if they're able to say it once they've done it. But he is 70 years old now. Born in 1952, I believe. So he's actually younger than me. I was born in 1949. Right. I had a few observations here about my poetry. They said they like my poetry. I'm glad, yeah. I'll do another poem tomorrow. I'll do Grandpa Grumps tomorrow. That's a poem about my grandson, which came to me. And my grandson had been born, only been born about 3 or 4 weeks, and I woke up about 4 o'clock in the morning, and this poem was in my head about being a grandfather. And I wrote that. I got up and wrote it. So I'll read you that tomorrow. And today I'm going to sing you a song. So it's a fair warning, this. I mean, I know people say they can't stand it. And I can't blame you, my wife feels the same. That's why we have the song dinger, folks. Yeah. Larry's strapping his Wellingtons on now. Can you see it, Larry? That blur of light flashing round, that's Larry. Yeah. The goats are dancing. Paula, thanks very much for your help over the years. Well, it's not years, it's only months really, isn't it, since we started. Yeah, don't forget to get my books, folk. HMP Manchester Prison Officer. I'm going to sing a song now, which I like this song. Yeah, who was it? Burl Ives sang this, yeah. So I'm going to sing it, I'm going to do my best. This is Big Rock Candy Mountain. You can all join in if you will, if you remember this song from when you were a kid, yeah. One evening as the sun went down and the jungle fire was burning, down the track came a hobo hiking, and he said, "Boys, I'm not turning. I'm heading for a land that's far away, beside the crystal fountain. So come with me, we'll go and see the Big Rock Candy Mountain. In the Big Rock Candy Mountain, there's a land that's fair and bright, where the handouts grow on bushes and you sleep out every night, where the boxcars all are empty and the sun shines every day. Oh, the birds and the bees and the cigarette trees, the lemonade springs where the bluebird sings, in the Big Rock Candy Mountain. In the Big Rock Candy Mountain, all the cops have wooden legs, and the bulldogs all have rubber teeth, and the hens lay soft-boiled eggs. The farmers' trees, they're full of fruit, and the barns, they're full of hay. Oh, I'm bound to go where there ain't no snow, where the rain don't fall and the wind don't blow, in the Big Rock Candy Mountain. In the Big Rock Candy Mountain, you never change your socks, and the little streams of alcohol come trickling down the rocks. The brakemen have to tip their hats, and the railroad bulls are blind. There's a lake of stew and of whiskey too. You can paddle all around 'em in a big canoe, in the Big Rock Candy Mountain. In the Big Rock Candy Mountain, the jails are made of tin, and you can walk right out again as soon as you walk in. There ain't no short-handled shovels, no axes, saws, or picks. I'm gonna stay where you sleep all day, where they hung the Turk that invented work, in the Big Rock Candy Mountains. And I'll see you all this coming fall in the Big Rock Candy Mountains. There you go. I sincerely hope you enjoyed that, although I seriously doubt it. We'll speak soon. Tales from the jails.